Preseason, all Big Ten teams are out, and some interesting results here. Starting with a non-surprising thing, Braden Smith is the preseason player of the year. Braden Smith is the only player that received a unanimous first team All Big Ten vote. Very rare, I feel like, throughout history that you could find preseason player teams and have just one guy that's unanimous. Kind of crazy, but that's Braden Smith this year. He is the number one player in this league for a reason, and we're all excited to see what happens. However, Trey Kaufman-Renn was not unanimous. He was also on the first team. Neither were any of the other players that I'm about to name. It was a 10-man All Big Ten first team now that we've gone to 18 teams. And these are the 10 players. Bennett Sturts, Yaxel Lenneborg, Nick Martinelli, Bruce Thornton, Nate Biddle, Jackson Shelstead, Trey Kaufman-Renn, Braden Smith, Donovan Dent, and John Blackwell. I think there are no real surprises within that top 10. You could convince me that not having an Illinois player, not having a Michigan State player are notable things to come back to later in the season. But for now, these are the 10 biggest names in the league. I don't think anyone's shocked by that. The shock to me is that Braden is the only unanimous one here. Yaxel Lenneborg, Bennett Sturts, but maybe most surprisingly, Trey Kaufman-Renn, not a unanimous first team All Big Ten player coming into the season. Rafael Davis from the Big Ten Network, a friend of ours who I hope he's comfortable with us calling him a friend. Just to maybe, I don't know. I like Rafe. We cross paths every now and then. I think he does amazing work. He took to Twitter to voice his frustrations, both I think with this result and also with like the Blue Ribbon All Americans, which Blue Ribbon is the preseason national magazine that came out, had TKR as a second team All American. And Rafe was not happy with that. Rafael tweeted Trey Kaufman-Renn continues to be the most disrespected college basketball player in the country. He averaged 20 and 7 on 60% scoring in the Big Ten. He's the Karl Malone to Purdue's attack, and y'all purposely disregard him. FYI, first team All American Alex Condon averaged 10 and 7 last year. What are we doing? So, fair point in regards to Condon. In fact, I agree with him in regards to Condon. I might kill the Karl Malone comps for a handful of reasons. I might stop that, maybe. But and then Evan Mia's player ratings came out as well yesterday, by the way. Or I guess they've been out for a while because we did an interview with him a couple weeks ago. But Evan Mia just kind of did a screenshot of his top 30 players in the country, and TKR is not very high on Evan Mia at all. TKR is the 28th best player in the country, according to Evan's BPR model. And Rafe didn't like that either. Said it's nasty what y'all are doing. This just makes zero sense. To which a lot of Purdue fans reply and were like, "It's just math. Like this isn't a personal ranking. This was just math." And TKR's defense is what holds him back. So, anyways, to summarize all of this, TKR getting a little bit slighted pretty much everywhere right now. Not a unanimous first team All Big Ten player in league, not a first team All American at the national level, not a top 25 player according to the algorithms that try and quantify how good college basketball players are this year. Are you surprised by any of this? Do you think that TKR is being slighted by any of these results?
Um, he should be unanimous all Big Ten. Uh, he probably shouldn't be compared to Karl Malone ever again. Respectfully, I don't even think TK would want that one. Uh, I don't know that I buy that Evan Mia, and I'm an Evan Mia guy, by the way. So this was never, it was, I was never gonna say that like he was being disrespected by Ev. But I don't know that Evan Mia is incorrect. Like I read the back and forth between Rafael Davis and Evan Mia. I think they're both like correct. You know what I mean? Like I think from a blanket statement, I don't think Evan would be like Terrace Reed is better than TKR. But according to, I'm not gonna try to say what the words are, but the BPR, as he called it, I could see how the BPR would come up with TK being so low just because of the defense aspect of it. But I don't think that's Evan being like, I think Terrace Reed is better than TK. I think that's just him saying, here's what my formula came up with. And
Right.
I can see why Ray Fell's like, that's crazy that your formula would have TK 28th behind Terrace Reed. I think it's like it both can be true. I think they're both spot on with what's kind of going on here. And I do think he is, I don't think he's the most disrespected player in the country, but I do think he's up there. And I don't think he's that far off the most disrespected player in the country either.
Yeah, so that's one of the, I guess, beauties or just realities of like Evan Mia and alternatives to Evan Mia too. We like Evan personally. I use his site more than I use any other analytics site. Um, the thing about it is it's literally a formula. He doesn't control the outputs. And Evan is smart enough and creative enough that like he's always working on new things, new ways to interpret this sport that we love and add to his site, add value to it. So like I asked him, you can go back and listen to the interview. We did like 25 minutes together a month ago when all of this stuff launched for this upcoming season. And I asked him like, "Hey, do you really mean to tell me like your model has DeBonsa and Peterson and Cam Boozer all identically graded?" That doesn't seem like something you have to have manually done that. And at that point, he kind of smirked and was like, had them all in the same range. Sometimes I have to override the algorithm a little bit. Sometimes Evan will like, yeah, play God and do what he thinks is best when he sees something wrong. For the large part, he doesn't though, right? It's an algorithm, it's math, and you could nitpick that there's things wrong with the model, but it's kind of a get out of jail free card that Evan doesn't shy away from, right? Evan will come out on record and be like, I disagree with my model saying this sometimes. TKR is very clearly better than the 28th best player in college basketball. If we gave every coach in the country like a snake draft spot and we were just picking players to build around, TKR would be taken in the top 10 without question. But when you're trying to quantify a player's value on both ends of the court, when you are a defensive liability, and there's a lot of other players in the country that aren't, that will kill you. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Mm, that's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girls' sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that, but honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy, love his wife. Love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more. No matter how good your offense is. So I think that's what's going on here with Evan's side of this. Shouldn't be all that upset about it because there's a lot of other wonky rankings in here as well on the freshman side or on the analytics side. The Big Ten stuff is more interesting to me. Again, I kind of said this on the team video where they only got 25 of 28 first place votes. I think it should be unanimous. I don't know who's voting other people over TKR for 10 spots. Like what? You have to submit a ballot with 10 spots. How is the guy that averaged 20 on it not there? I just don't get that. He's a vet at this point. He's very good. I don't even know what the argument would be that TKR is not a top 10 player in the league. And weird enough, we're gonna do our own Big Ten player rankings soon, and I'm not sure TKR is gonna be ranked second in ours. He might be, but more than anybody else, even like if Yaxel was going to rank ahead of TKR for me, or Bennett, Sturtz, or Dent, I could buy the argument that those guys wouldn't be unanimous. Especially two of these guys are point guards. How are they going to adjust to Big Ten speed? One of them, his whole career has been built on beating up on mid majors. If you want to tell me, like, we're just not sure on the transfers, fine. Keep those guys out. We're sure what Trey Kaufman-Renn is. We are positive what he is. He's a 20 a game scorer, alpha go to first option on a top two team in the country. Like, that's insane. He even Blue Ribbon has him as a second team All American. And I know we're painting that as disrespect. A second team All American should be a unanimous first team All Big Ten player, right? Like, if you're capable of being a second team top 10 player in the country, you're a top 10 player in the Big Ten unanimously. And shame on the voters that left him off. I don't know who it was. I never saw any reporting on it, but it makes no sense to me. I think this one is more confusing to me. TKR not being a unanimous first team all league player than it is Purdue not getting all 28 of the first team votes.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Just because, like, do we have any idea who got the votes instead of him?
Oh, it's just like the only way to be not unanimous would be there's at least one of the 28 ballots had you outside the top 10.
Were there like honorable mention guys? Like, were there people that like just missed the cut or anything like
Yeah, Tom Ivisic was the big one. But you
that?
had like Ivisic, Stojakovic, Boswell, Fears, Kohler, Carr. Like there were no Illinois, no Michigan State players in the top 10. But still, like, again, like one individual ballot, even if you want to be as mean to TKR as possible, you should have him like sixth in this
Yeah.
league. There's no argument there's 10 players better in the Big Ten this year than Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Crazy to think there's 10 players better than TK. Like it so like the Bennett Sturt stuff I think has gone a little too far. I think we're all a little too high on Bennett Sturts. I think I'm gonna champion and take on the role of calming it down um
Okay.
over the course of the next month. I don't know how I'm gonna do that just yet, but that's probably something for next week, me. But I do think I'm gonna take on that role. TK needs to be hyped up. I really like Big T. I really like Big T's game. I like Andre Boswell. Basically, I like all of Illinois and Michigan State. Like those are the rosters that basically are just on the cusp of getting on this list. I still don't think any of them are like the same caliber player as TK is. Like right away. You know what I mean? Like at least they weren't last year, and maybe they could grow into it. And maybe by the end of the year, if you told me, hey, TK is like the eighth best player in the Big Ten, or like he was third team All Big Ten or something like that, sure. But a preseason All Big Ten list, I think TK and Braden are the first two names you put down on that ballot,
Yeah.
regardless of how you feel about everybody else, just because of what they did last year.
And again, if it was just a five-man team, then I would get it. Like, it's not that it's 10-man teams. How are you not unanimous on a 10-man first team All Big Ten? It's very confusing to me, to say the least. So, Rafe, though, because Raphael's kind of taking all this stuff as it happens, one by one here, and he's promoting Trey Kaufman-Renn as, quote, the most disrespected player in the country. Are you okay with that?
No,
You would argue
but
it's Omer.
yeah, I mean, honestly, in Cohen, like Omer and Cohen, like I think to me, you have TK who largely not considered like an NBA dude. You know what I mean? Largely considered like he's in his fifth year in college. I think if you told TK like across his career, like, hey, you weren't unanimous all preseason, all Big Ten, but you're still on the team. Like I think that's a pretty good result for him. You know what I mean? I think there's some guys that like legitimately got disrespected, where it's just like, where are they?
So I think he is being disrespected. Condon over him is crazy on an All-American team. I agree with Rafe there. Not being a unanimous Big Ten guy on a 10-man team is crazy. That is insane. He can't be the most disrespected player in the country when he's on all these All-American teams. That's just a little counterintuitive to me, you know?
Yeah. And also, TK, if you're listening to this, just quick reminder, TK, 3 units. So this is coming out of respect. This isn't negative. This is me, you and me, big dog. We're in this together this year. We're gonna have to do something on defense. Like just something. I don't know what that something is. Maybe even just utilize our 5 fouls and we just hack. I'm okay with that, but we got to do something on defense. Anything on
Yeah.
defense would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully that message is taken to heart from one Boilermaker to another. Where'd you get the boiler up golf ball, by the way? You're in California. So I
So
think when you tweeted that out, I don't think people realized like how confusing that was to me. I stared at that for like 20 minutes yesterday. Where did that come from?
I wanted that to be like the most mysterious yet pointed tweet maybe in the history of tweets. And I feel like it checked every box I was looking for. So I went to the driving range. I'm locked in right now. So I've now hoop season started. So there's two things on my mind. It's Purdue and it's the golf simulators in Indy, and it's us getting our get back from last. And I have goals. And so I'm at the range and I went to this like cheaper golf course, but so like people like just leave their golf balls all over the course and then they end up in the range. It was in my bucket. And I looked down, I was like, 3 units. Like this is a sign. This is a
So
sign.
there was a boiler up range ball in the California golf range you were at.
Absolutely. Yeah. Antelope Greens golf course for anybody in the Sacramento area. If you find any more boiler up golf balls, please let me know.
Insane.